who's that? Who is that inside the mask?
Like 2.5 hours, you know.
That's all
Yeah.
the Darth Vader language is in 2.5 hours?
Yeah, a few $1,000s, and then I went home.
Stuttering was so embarrassing and really painful.
James Earl Jones, the iconic voice that brought so many characters to life, has passed away, and his death is a painful reminder of how ruthless and unforgiving the entertainment industry can be. Despite his towering talent and countless contributions, Jones faced more than his share of hardships, including being blackballed by the very industry he helped shape.
I think I can't condemn Tony Quinn for playing that. Only Tony Quinn can condemn himself if he does not achieve several things.
It's a bitter truth that the world of showbiz, often quick to exploit its stars, rarely acknowledges their true worth until it's too late. Jones's passing isn't just a loss of a legendary voice. It's a confirmation of the brutal reality that the industry seldom honors its artists while they're alive. Buckle up as we dive into the dark side of Hollywood's treatment of its own through the lens of one of its most enduring stars. James Earl Jones, the legendary actor whose deep, iconic voice made Darth Vader unforgettable, has passed away at 93. His agent, Barry McPherson, shared that Jones died at home on Monday, surrounded by family.
And we are coming on the air right now because ABC News has just learned that legendary actor James Earl Jones has died.
While his passing is a huge loss, it's raising some eyebrows among fans. People are questioning if his strained relationship with the industry might have played a part in his sudden death. There's a lot of buzz about whether external pressures could have impacted his health, and even more shockingly, what his death has uncovered about the industry. James Earl Jones is celebrated as one of the greatest black actors to ever light up both the big and small screens since the 1960s. Like a fine wine, he's only gotten better with age, appearing in a slew of blockbuster films and stage productions throughout his impressive career. From Coming to America to his many other roles, Jones has done it all. He's tackled every challenge with remarkable versatility. His extensive collection of awards stands as a testament to his exceptional talent, placing him among the elite actors who've earned nearly every major accolade in film and theater.
So this is a big deal, huh? Okay. If you say so. Thank you.
It seems that despite his legendary status, James Earl Jones hasn't always received the recognition he deserves within the black community. There's a noticeable sense of unresolved issues or lack of full appreciation for him. While icons like Denzel Washington, Samuel L. Jackson, and Morgan Freeman often get the spotlight and respect, sometimes even more than Jones, despite having fewer films or awards, the legendary actor hasn't been as prominently celebrated. To add to this, Jones has been less visible in interviews and talk shows over the years, which might make him feel even more distant from the public eye.
Things you could never imagine saying, never imagine thinking in your own life. You could say these things, you know. That's what it's still about. Whether it's movies or TV or what, that's what it's still about.
Fans didn't seem too upset when James Earl Jones started stepping back from the spotlight, especially since some of his more controversial opinions had put him in hot water. Eventually, he stopped making appearances on interviews and talk shows entirely, fading from the limelight. The once celebrated star seemed to be pushed into the background. Then came rumors that he was supposedly banned from media circles. This was surprising to many, considering how much he was adored by the media and how eager talk show hosts used to be to have him on. So, what led to the Star Wars legend's disappearance from the public eye? And why does his relationship with the black community seem so complex?
A lot of what comes out of such a controversy. The controversy itself, though, you have to pay some attention to why it happened.
James Earl Jones has long been celebrated as one of America's greatest actors, with a career that truly speaks for itself. However, his controversial opinions have sometimes impacted his screen time. Back in the 1960s, Jones caused a major stir when he suggested that fellow actor Anthony Quinn was racist. This was a big deal at the time, especially since Quinn was a well-loved figure. Quinn, who was white and of Irish-Mexican descent, had shown interest in playing Henri Christophe, the first and only black emperor of Haiti.
The museum piece, I thought that they should have waited a couple of years before they... I was, as a matter of fact, my first impression was to laugh at myself, because as you walked into...
Henri Christophe was indeed black, so it seemed natural that a black actor would play him. However, Anthony Quinn had a different perspective. He felt that actors shouldn't be restricted by race when it came to their roles, arguing that versatility was crucial. Quinn even suggested that using blackface and mimicking black mannerisms to portray the character was acceptable in order to expand his acting range. This view is highly controversial, and it's no surprise that James Earl Jones took issue with it, given his own stance on racial representation in the industry. He said, "He as an actor has to achieve that, and he also has to achieve the essence of a Haitian and all the other problems of playing an emperor with that great ambition. And if Tony Quinn fails at any of these things, he will condemn himself. But that's an actor problem, not a cultural one." The community responded strongly to Anthony Quinn's ambitions, believing that black actors deserve the opportunity to play black roles and thus promote better representation and more meaningful roles. They felt that Quinn's approach would undermine black pride and deny black actors a chance to tell their own stories. Ellen Hawley, a black actress, even penned a passionate letter to the New York Times, urging Quinn to reconsider, arguing that his portrayal would diminish the opportunity for black actors to represent their own history. In 1972, when James Earl Jones appeared on The Dick Cavett Show, he was asked about the controversy surrounding Quinn's plans and Ellen Hawley's pointed remarks. Jones was in a tough position. Condemning Quinn could hurt his Hollywood reputation and alienate white audiences, while supporting Quinn might lead to severe backlash from the black community, potentially labeling him a traitor.
A lot of what comes out of such a controversy is nonsense.
Jones, however, navigated the situation masterfully. He made it clear that he disagreed with Quinn's desire to portray Emperor Henri Christophe, but did so in a way that earned him respect from both sides. He stated that he wouldn't have an issue with Quinn taking on the role if he met 3 specific criteria: project the appearance of a black man, embody Haitian mannerisms and accents, and most importantly, accurately portray the emperor. Jones emphasized that if Quinn failed to achieve even one of these, then he would have essentially condemned himself. This thoughtful response allowed Jones to thread the needle between the 2 opposing views and avoid alienating his fan base.
I can't condemn Tony Quinn for playing that. Only Tony Quinn can condemn himself if he does not achieve several things.
Dick Cavett, the host. Word on the street is that Hollywood wasn't pleased with James Earl Jones's criticism of their favorite actor, Anthony Quinn. This could have led to Jones being subtly blackballed. After the controversy, Jones began landing fewer roles and reportedly saw his pay decline. On top of that, talk show hosts seemed to steer clear of him, all because of that one pointed remark about Quinn's potential racial bias. James Earl Jones had a complicated relationship with the black community, partly due to some controversial comments he made earlier in his career. At the peak of his fame, he reportedly described black women as unfeminine and militant, criticizing them for being uptight and quick-tempered. He suggested their behavior was an overreaction to historical stereotypes, particularly the image of the submissive black woman.
That black women you've met have been uptight. What do you mean by that?
What do I mean by uptight? Going toward a more militant attitude.
These remarks didn't sit well with many in the Afro-American community, especially black women, who felt his comments were disrespectful. Despite his celebrated work, this history created a love-hate dynamic. For a time, the black community rallied behind him following his criticism of Anthony Quinn, but those earlier comments continued to cast a long shadow. This tension complicated his standing within his own community, where he was both admired for his achievements and criticized for his controversial statements.
Interested in if people wanted to have intermarriages and were denied that right, though.
James Earl Jones stirred up significant controversy within the black community with his comments about black women. He suggested that the idea of the black woman as the primary breadwinner was a myth, implying it wasn't a choice but a necessity shaped by political and social circumstances. According to Jones, black women had taken on the role of breadwinner in their quest for high-status jobs, which brought its own set of challenges and frustrations. He also controversially expressed a preference for white women over black women, describing black women as rough and almost like men, which sparked widespread outrage. These views led to significant backlash from the black community, especially black women who felt deeply insulted by his remarks. Many called for a boycott of his work. While Jones wasn't universally hated, he wasn't fully embraced either. He found himself caught between 2 worlds, disliked by some white audiences and rejected by his own community.
I take it back. You're not in trouble.
You're dead where you
This strained relationship has lingered, leaving his legacy and achievements met with mixed feelings within the black community. James Earl Jones, an entertainment legend renowned for his powerful baritone voice, Jones made a lasting impression across generations. From his early struggles with a severe stutter to becoming a master of his craft, his 60-year career was marked by versatility and depth. Jones earned the prestigious EGOT status, having won Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Awards.
Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. It is my joy and my privilege to present to you James Earl Jones with this, an Academy Award.
A rare feat accomplished by only a few entertainers. By taking one step at a time, I found great treasures, Jones said in 2022, reflecting on his longevity in the industry. Among his nearly 200 screen credits, Jones is perhaps best known for voicing Darth Vader in the Star Wars franchise. His deep, resonant voice made the Sith Lord one of the most memorable villains in cinema history. But even when he lent his voice to such a menacing character, Jones approached his work with thoughtful humility. I wanted to make Darth Vader more interesting, more subtle, more psychologically oriented, he explained. But director George Lucas preferred a different approach, keeping Vader's voice on a very narrow band of inflection, because he ain't human. Beyond Star Wars, Jones' voice became a staple in pop culture. He was the commanding presence behind the regal Mufasa in Disney's The Lion King, and lent his distinctive voice to major brands like CNN and Verizon. His influence extended beyond the screen, captivating audiences with a sense of authority and compassion. Reflecting on his work as Mufasa, Jones recalled a significant shift in how he approached the role. "My first mistake was to try and make him regal, and what they really needed was something more like me." He went on to embody a loving, authoritative father figure, solidifying Mufasa's place in the hearts of fans worldwide. CNN described Jones as the voice of their network for decades, bringing instant authority, grace, and class every time he spoke. They said his iconic voice is just one of the many things we'll miss about him. The University of Michigan, where he went to school, honored him with a video narrated by Jones, posted on X. After he passed away, the New York Times highlighted Jones's career as a prodigious body of work and praised him as one of America's most versatile actors across stage, film, and TV. The Hollywood Reporter called him one of the most admired American actors of all time. Peter Bradshaw from The Guardian compared him to legends like Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte, saying his beautiful voice was central to his dignity and ability to rise above racism and cruelty in his roles, and dubbed him movie royalty. Alec Baldwin also weighed in back in 2011, calling Jones one of the greatest actors in American history. James Earl Jones has been celebrated as a trailblazer and pioneer for African Americans due to his impactful roles on stage and TV. In 1965, he made history as one of the first black actors to secure a continuing role on a daytime drama with As the World Turns. Viola Davis has praised Jones's career as a reflection of black excellence. Critic Clive Barnes once described his theater performances as having a moral force, comparing him to a black avenging angel whose presence and voice conveyed deep, raw emotion. In 2022, the Court Theater was renamed in his honor, making it the second Broadway venue named after a black artist, following the August Wilson Theater. The Court Theater was also the site of Jones's Broadway debut in 1958. James Earl Jones's early acting career was a mix of stage and radio work. He started out at the Ramsdell Theater in Manistee, Michigan, where he initially worked as a stage carpenter in 1953. By 1955, he had moved into acting and stage management, making a notable debut as Othello during his first season. Jones's Broadway career began in 1957 when he served as an understudy to Lloyd Richards in Molly Kazan's play The Egghead. Although the play had a brief run of only 21 performances, it marked the start of his Broadway journey. In January 1958, he secured his first major role as Edward the Butler in Dore Schari's Sunrise at Campobello at the Court Theater, a role that helped establish his presence in the theater world. In the early to mid-1960s, Jones solidified his reputation as a leading Shakespearean actor. His acclaimed portrayals of Othello and King Lear, along with his performances as Oberon in A Midsummer Night's Dream, Abhorsen in Measure for Measure, and Claudius in Hamlet, firmly established him as a powerhouse in classical theater.
Sulphurous and thought-executing fires, brought couriers,
Throughout the 1980s, Jones continued to make a significant impact in both film and theater. He appeared in several box office hits, including Conan the Barbarian, 1982, where he played the role of Thulsa Doom. The film, an action fantasy epic, showcased Jones's ability to bring intensity and gravitas to his roles. He also starred in Coming to America, 1988, an Eddie Murphy comedy that added depth and humor to the film. Jones's performance was a key element in the film's charm and success. Additionally, Jones was featured in Field of Dreams, 1989, a sports drama fantasy that earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Picture. His role contributed to the film's critical acclaim and its impact on audiences.
Will come, Ray. They'll come to us.
Even with his incredible achievements in film and theater, James Earl Jones found himself somewhat out of favor with the Black community. It's almost like his success was overshadowed by past controversies and personal choices that put him at odds with many within his own race. His comments about Black women and the whole idea of the Black matriarch had already stirred up some serious backlash. And then, when he married a white woman, it felt like adding more fuel to the fire. This marriage seemed to widen the gap between him and the Black community, with some seeing it as a way of making a statement or just stirring the pot. So, despite his major contributions to cinema and theater, his accomplishments were often met with a shrug or even some pretty harsh criticism from people who had once cheered him on. Do you think a mistake like that, which anyone in the industry could make, really deserves a full-on ban or blackballing? James Earl Jones felt it so deeply that he practically disappeared, only to resurface with news of his death. Was it just a huge overreaction, or did they use it as a chance to push him out of the industry for good? Only time will tell if we ever get the full story. That's it for today. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.